I have a new device. The OnePlus Nord 2 is here. I want to check it out for a mid-range device that costs sometimes even under 300 euros. Is it any good? Let's get started with the unboxing and first look. Here we have the 65 watt warp charge, a USB Type-C cable in red. We have some paper materials and a case, as well as a SIM eject tool. And some stickers. Besides that, there's of course the device itself in this gray material. On the front we have Gorilla Glass 5 and a screen protector. On the back Gorilla Glass 5 as well. The material is a little bit of a rough but matte material, but very slippery. It has nice rounded edges here and a nice camera bump with 3 camera sensors. On the side here, which is a plastic frame, we have the switcher between silent, ring mode and vibration. Then we have the power button. On the other side we have the volume rocker. On the top we have a microphone. On the bottom we have the main speaker, USB Type-C 2.0, a microphone and dual nano SIM slot. One of the specialties of OnePlus is this slider that allows you to switch between vibration, ringer mode and silent mode. Thanks to the slim design and curved edges at the back, the device is pretty good in the hand and you don't have any issues navigating around. The device features a fingerprint sensor, a little bit lower here on the screen. The screen is 6.43 inch sized and fluid AMOLED screen with 90 Hz refresh rate, which is like quite smooth, but I noticed in some applications you have some bit of issues when it comes to the fluidity of the 90 Hz. The under-screen fingerprint reader is a bit annoying because it doesn't always work. As you can see here, you have to activate the display by double tapping, then you can unlock the device with the fingerprint reader. But there's face detection available and this works pretty reliable, as you can see here. The system on the device runs fluid thanks to the 90 Hz and MediaTek Dimensity 1200 AI. Sometimes there's a stutter in some applications, just like I noticed in Twitter, for example, when scrolling. There's a bit of stuttering going on when it's loading some stuff. Otherwise it runs pretty fluid and there's no issue with that. It comes with Widevine Level 1 pre-installed, as well as Netflix HD and Amazon Prime and Disney Plus support. Otherwise, the system is Oxygen OS 11 based upon Android 11, and the system itself comes with 128 GB of ROM and 8 GB of RAM. The battery is a 4500 mAh one, which should last you throughout the day without any issues, maybe a little bit longer than a day if you like to. You can charge the phone with the included 65 watt power adapter in under 40 minutes. Under more battery settings you have the high performance mode, which allows you to use more of the system resources, but it depletes the battery a lot faster. On the back you can find the main sensor 50 megapixel, the ultra wide 8 megapixel and a 2 megapixel monochrome depth sensor. On the front we can see the 32 megapixel front cam. The camera shoots nice pictures with good background blur. The ultra wide angle is the weakest here. You have AI support, we have HDR support, we have lots and tons of modes here. In general, I like the pictures. The selfie cam is also okay. but sadly the video is a bit of a bummer. This is the OnePlus Nord 2's main sensor, 50 megapixel, recording at 4K 30, which is the maximum resolution this one can take. You can enable extra sound called add-on to use an external microphone, just like I'm doing here. And this one has good stabilization, has good colors, and I think also good light gathering capabilities for these dim lit situations. What do you think? The ultra-wide-angle sensor on the OnePlus Nord 2 offers 1080p 30 frames per second as a maximum resolution, and when it comes to stabilization, I think it's a bit weaker than I would have expected, and also it gets a little bit grainy because the sensor is so small if you go to dim lit situations. But the stabilization is something that I don't like so much because it's a bit wobbly here and there. The selfie cam of the OnePlus Nord 2 allows to record in 1080p 30 frames per second. By default it's a bit of wobbly, but it is stabilized. But you have also the possibility to have an extra stabilizer enabled, and if I walk to darker situations, it's automatically turning on the screen to make it a little bit brighter. Of course now it is not doing this. Let's go here. Now it's turning on the screen to illuminate my face a little bit more, but the sensor is small, so it's a bit of like darker here and grainier. But in general I think the selfie is pretty good. But why is there a 32 megapixel selfie cam if it's not able to record 4K? When recording with the main lens and only the main lens, it doesn't matter if 4K or 1080p, I have the ability to zoom in. So this is 2 times. And I have the possibility to zoom in to a maximum of 10 times. There's a dual speaker setup with the bottom firing speaker and the earpiece, though the earpiece is a lot weaker than the bottom firing speaker, but at least this gets pretty loud. GPS signal can be acquired pretty quickly and is pretty accurate as well, under 3 meters even. Otherwise it features Bluetooth 5.2, Wi-Fi 6 and telephony, NFC, no issues at all with this. As the OnePlus Nord 2 is very slippery with its default casing housing, I just put a case on, the official case here. It also has the slippery matte finish, but also this glossy finish which is not so slippery. It is protecting the camera bump pretty good, I think. It's a bit of a soft case here also, so I'm not sure if it's protecting that too good. It has a nice cutout for the ring volume switcher, ring and silent switcher, and then we have a button for the power button and 2 buttons for the volume rocker, which is also working fine. There's no flap for the USB Type-C port here, like on the older version, on the first generation, and there's an opening for the speaker. There's no opening for the SIM slot, and there's an opening for another microphone here. So it feels a lot better with this case on. It's also protecting, as you can see here, the sides, curves, the edges are a bit raised, so it's protecting definitely the screen as well. So my first impression of the OnePlus Nord 2 is that it's a very slim, lightweight device. It looks good, it lies good in the hand. It's a bit of slippery. I don't like this material so much, so I probably will put a case on and try to use it with the case. Otherwise, the cameras are a bit of a bummer. The main cam is good, but the rest is just simply not very usable. The ultra wide angle has some weird kind of sharpening going on, and in video mode it's almost unusable if you don't have steady hands. And then we have the selfie cam that is pretty good. You have to go into stabilizer mode, otherwise it's also unusable for vlogs, for example. So I'm a bit of like confused about this. I don't like the Oxygen OS so much. I know it's a matter of taste. It's also not running smooth at 90 Hz. There's some stutters on YouTube, on Twitter when scrolling around, even on Reddit. So that's a little bit of a bummer, and it doesn't seem to be as optimized as other devices are. So for the price point under 300 euros, yeah, definitely a win. For over 300 euros, no, there are better ones.